Going over to Rhode Island is our dear god sister. I'm very fortunate to recently make her my sister, my friend, in the last, as a result of these Zoom calls, we've ended up reading together. Srimati Madhuri Devi from Rhode Island. I'm very interested to hear her offering today, because she has very interesting insights on Krishna consciousness and a very intuitive and very heartly approach to Krishna consciousness. So I'm very excited to present you Srimati Madhuri Devi Dasi Didi, rather, from Rhode Island in America. Haribol Didi, thank you for coming in. Thank you for making an offering.
Haribol, does this work? Can you hear me?
Perfectly, perfectly.
Excellent.
Now we're gonna, yeah. So we'll work out how.
Now I can't hear you, Yashoda Prabhu.
We'll now work out how to work out Ashta, and everyone will listen to you. Haribol. Okay.
So first, before I do my pranams, I want to say I'm sitting in my car because my power went out this morning. Gurudev makes things a little bit extra difficult. And so if you hear a roar in the background, that's the electric company vehicles. This is the only way I can talk to you is on my hotspot. So, Om Agyan Timirandasya
talking.
Haribol? Oh, you're talking. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Are you talking or am I talking?
That, but he was on mute by accident. Did he carry on?
Oh, okay. Om Gyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur and Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tada Bhaktaya Namaha. I offer my heart unlimited times in the dust of the lotus feet of my most beloved Gurudev. Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Astotara Satashishimad Bhaktivedanta Narayana Gosvami Maharaja. So I didn't think I'd get all teared up, but I'm going to anyway. So I've listened to all of you guys for so long, and it is so touching because I had so little physical association with Srila Gurudeva, but I'll share what I did, and I'll share some of my impressions of what I've gotten through this process, if I have the wherewithal to do so. So I don't call him Srila Gurudev, I call him my beloved, because I know him as my heart, and I know him as my mother, and I know him as my best friend. And it's hard to say all that because I couldn't tell you possibly why. It's just that I'm fragile, I'm not very trusting. I find it very, very hard to interact in such a way that doesn't blow up because the material energy is just so heavy. And Gurudev is my backstop. He's the only one who makes it possible for me to stay present with what's here. So I had a perfectly mundane life. I had a business, I had lots of friends, I was always busy, I was engaged in general material karma, and I wasn't satisfied. And I went through a relationship that broke up, and I learned that I needed to find my heart and I needed to learn to breathe. So I did some breath work and went on a sort of spiritual journey, and I had never meditated. So the first time I meditated, I made a prayer and I said, please take me and use me as a vessel for love, compassion, and service. The second time I meditated, I saw Amachi and Babaji and Krishna. It was that Amachi was my mother, Babaji was my father, and Krishna was my beloved. And I didn't know who Krishna was. And I only knew Amma because I had made association of some of her disciples. And I'm very thankful for her because she gave me shelter and took me from a raw enough place so that I could become service-minded. So I came to Gurudev through the mercy of Nimai Chaitanya Prabhu, because I had met him at a gathering. I had been told that I should come to this Bhakti Yoga event because Bhakti Yoga was the yoga of love. And I met a sadhu there. His name was Shamdas. And some of you may have seen him on the platform in Govardhan, because he gave glorification for Gurudev when Gurudev was in his sickness pastimes. At any rate, I met him at this event and heard my first Leela there, and Nimai Chaitanya invited me to, at a later date, to his office for a kirtan. And I came there, and in the association of the people I'd been with, they all talked about realization, mukti, enlightenment. That was their end goal. And I thought, I must be really dead inside. I must be really numb because I can't feel anything. I couldn't feel anything at all. But I came to Nimai Chaitanya's and I met Tridandi Maharaj there. And he said the word that sparked my heart. He said, relationship. And when he said relationship, every little cell in my body just jumped up and started dancing. So I wasn't deemed qualified at that time to come to Gurudev. I was told I needed to study first. So I started studying with Nimai Chaitanya and his small group, Jaiva Dharma. And the following year, Sajjan Maharaj came to the sort of small Boston Sangha. And he wears his heart so openly. I mean, I have so much love for Sajjan Maharaj because he always seems to be weeping. There's always just this stunned look in his eye and this place where his heart just bleeds from him. His love for Gurudev just bleeds from him. So he said, yes, come to Srila Gurudev. And I tried. And I've learned that, at least on my path, everything requires extra work. Everything means I have to push back. I couldn't get there. I had a plane ticket, but I couldn't connect with my Sangha. I couldn't find a place to stay. I was afraid to go alone. And Sajjan Maharaj said the Maya, the material energy, doesn't want us to have the association of the pure devotee. And then he gave me instruction. I changed my ticket. I got on a plane. I had nowhere to go, nowhere to stay, no one to get me from the airport. And Gurudev took care of everything. I was there. They found me home of some people living there in Houston. They were Indian devotees. They introduced me to Thakurji. They gave me the master bed. They brought me to the yagya and found me a seat right next to Gurudev. And they gave me so much mercy. And Gurudev, I did not grow up with any discipline whatsoever. And I grew up meeting people all over the world from all walks of life because I was just so eager and willing and interested in meeting people. So when I came to Srila Gurudev, first I thought, well, I've never paid respects to anyone. I'm not going to pay respects to him. And I was out in the parking lot in Houston, and all the way across the parking lot, across the hot tarmac, some individuals got out of a car and Gurudev was among them. And when he came close, I was on the ground because my heart just burst open. And I remember thinking that here's what looks to be a frail elderly man, because this was 2009, a frail elderly man. But what I saw was the only material that I knew of to refer to was Kevlar, which is stronger than steel. It's lighter than steel and it's stronger than steel. And it was like this beam that just came all the way from heaven and went all the way through Srila Gurudev and all the way down to the center of the earth. And it was both a cord and an anchor and a strand of just extraordinary beauty. And that was Srila Gurudev. And then I had awe, because I thought, there's no way I even deserve to take this association. So Gurudev, playing with me, as he often does, as I said, he makes things harder. I'm sitting in my car with my hotspot because I have no power. I listened to the Leela and I saw Gurudev, and then I went out on Harinam with a bunch of his disciples, and I'd never gone on Harinam. I'd never met Thakurji before. I'd never had any association with Vaishnavas except with Sajan Maharaj and Tridandi Maharaj. I didn't know what ISKCON was. I didn't know what a Sampradaya was. I didn't know any of that. But I went out on Harinam, and they were all young devotees from Alachua. And they decided not to come back. We couldn't find the vehicle afterwards. And they decided not to come back. And they wanted to go to Krishna culture and buy shringar for their deities. And I stood in the parking lot and I wailed and wailed and wailed and wailed and wailed, because all I wanted was to get back to Gurudev. So because of that and the challenges that I had, because there was some miscommunication and stuff, I didn't get all the association I wanted. I did get Shamarani Didi's mercy. She walked me around. She took my wrist and walked me around for 3 hours, which was beautiful. And so I didn't feel qualified for Harinam. So I had talked to Shamala Didi, and she said, well, then you shouldn't take it. And it was Srila Gurudeva just making a challenge for me, because tears started pouring out.
There's some interference there. You may want to be careful what you're moving. We're getting interference on the line.
So wait a minute, say that again.
There's some interference on the line, like some scratching or some paper or something moving around. Just need to be aware of that.
Oh, okay, that might have been my piece of paper. Thank you. So I cried, and Srila Gurudev gave me Harinam in a room with half a dozen other people. And then I went to him and I asked him if I could follow him to Italy, and he said yes. So I went to Italy, and I wouldn't have gone to Italy maybe if it hadn't been for all of the challenges it took me to get to him, and all of the challenges I had with my own small Sangha. So I went to Srila Gurudev in Italy, and here's where I said I had no discipline, I had no awe and reverence, I didn't know anything at all when I came to Srila Gurudev. I had just come from India, from Harikatha Vishwa Mahadam, which is a Shiva ashram. And I had climbed Mount Kailash there. And when I met Srila Gurudev, his energy was like the energy of Mount Kailash. It was this ultimate stillness and required complete attention. And if you were distracted at all, you would fall down the mountain. So that was Srila Gurudev for me. And so I was in Italy, and I had remembered that when I had been in India, if one wanted to give dakshin, if one wanted to give an offering, the gurus, they don't take money in their hands. So I knew no better, and I did what I had done with the pujaris in India, is I took the money that I had, and I walked up to Gurudev, and he was alone. And there was nobody looking except Sajan Maharaj. And I put money in Gurudev's pockets. And he took his arm and he brought his arm out about 3 feet and he whacked me across the head. And it was the second time this had happened. It was the first time with Srila Gurudev. Things usually come in threes, so I'm still waiting for my third. But Sajan Maharaj was watching, and I'm so fortunate because he gave the biggest thumbs up, because I'm that much of a blockhead that in order for anything to get through my head, I need that extra special mercy. So much of what came to me of Srila Gurudev came after he left his manifest pastimes. He held me. He held me. I know for the first year I I looked through pictures every day. I looked through pictures, and I saw him with all of his disciples out in the water, swimming and playing and laughter, and there was just love that radiated from it. And I felt that after he left his manifest pastimes, I got his full association, because that love just radiated. I mean, it's as though he gave me a piece of every disciple's heart. It was so, 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 so sweet. And then I went into grief, and I didn't know that I was grieving. And so he's here. Every time I start to fall off the edge, he sends me reminders. If I have fear or anger or give me one moment. Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. My power just came back on. That was the electric company. Every time I have fear or anger or loss or grief or any of those things, and my body tightens up, I remember Srila Gurudev. And now he's giving me, he gave me his heart, and now he's giving me his teachings. It's as though I've needed all of these years to wander. I had 5 years without association. For some reason, I fell off the grid. I fell out of the means to be with him. I just fell completely out. And, you know, when you fall out, I mean, when you're with Amma and Babaji and there's all this association and everything is magical and magical things keep happening, you think, oh, this is the ultimate. And then you come to Srila Gurudev and you realize that he owns your heart and he's going to make you work for everything you get. And when you work, the reward is so many times greater, and it's unlimited, and it is that river of love. I mean, when I had been in India, I touched the river of love in Harikatha. I had the experience of feeling the actual particles of love come from the patakas, the Guru's sandals. And I had felt what that felt like. And for years I had that experience. And then I came to Srila Gurudev and it all culminated in his heart. And there was no place else to go. So my mother is an actress. I'm a little extra dramatic. I need good guidance. I take my guidance from you guys. I take my guidance from Chaitanya Maharaj. I give my heart to Bhaktivedanta Nemi Maharaj because his love is so sweet. I see Gurudev's heart in all of you. The one vestige that I have from the time that I used to go to India prior to coming to Kartik is that I can feel people's hearts and I can feel when Gurudev is speaking directly from them. So I remember going to, am I out of time or am I okay? I can't hear you.
You got three more minutes or so, Didi.
Going to New Braj after Srila Gurudev left and hearing the devotees speak of Srila Gurudev was some of the sweetest and deepest connection that I felt. When Brajanath Prabhu came and spoke, this was just the year after Srila Gurudev left his manifest pastimes. When Brajanath Prabhu spoke, Gurudev just permeated the entire space. It's not something you find with your intellect, it's something you find with your heart. I have a life that was dedicated to intellect. I have always had ease with those things, and I've had a sheltered heart because I was told that when my mother passed, she took my heart for safekeeping. And so Gurudev brought me back my heart. And that heart is what allows me to stay on this path. It allows me to come into the association because in the mundane world, I'm considered intelligent. In the association of Vaishnavas, I'm not even a neophyte. I'm not even qualified to have the association on these calls. But I also have to remember that Srila Gurudev confers that qualification. He is, you know, everyone says Hare Krishna, everyone talks about Krishna, and I don't know who Krishna is. All I see is Gurudev. All I see is that if I cleave to that, if I make him mine, if I remember him always, then I am in this eternal thread, and there's a place for me at the end of it somewhere. But the journey in itself is everything I need and want. So I'm going to end at that. Vachakalpatrubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo.
Thank you, Didi. I'm so glad that the power and everything stayed on. There was no relapse. I knew that your offering would be a very deeply personal and very sensitive one, and I'm so happy that you stepped forward to make the offering. Every crackle in your voice felt like it permeated with like Gurudev's lightning bolt of love coming through. That's how it felt. A very deeply personal experience. So thank you so much for sharing with us.
Can I just add one thing? That I just want to say that it doesn't matter the time of association. You can see Srila Gurudev has done what he's needed to do for you, and there's nothing more than that. And you know, Gurudev comes at it. Radhika Didi told me this one thing, and it's always stuck by me, that Gurudev comes at the appropriate time for every devotee. So some need more, some need less, some have more ability to serve. Whatever it is, he comes at the right time, and you have got Gurudev's heart with you, and you can hear it. So always remember that, and then keep me under association so that I can also serve Srila Gurudev. Thank you, Didi. Thank you so much. It was beautiful.